Hey everyone! Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that's been making headlines recently, Mpox, also known as monkeypox. If you've been wondering what exactly Mpox is, how it spreads, and what you can do to protect yourself, you're in the right place. We're breaking it all down in this video, so stick around for some crucial information. Let's start with the basics. Mpox is a rare viral disease that's similar to smallpox but generally less severe. It was first discovered in 1958 when 2 outbreaks occurred in colonies of monkeys kept for research, which is how it got its name, monkeypox. However, the virus isn't exclusive to monkeys. It's mainly found in rodents, and humans can get infected too. Cut to a map showing where Mpox has been found in the world. Mpox is most commonly found in Central and West Africa, but recent outbreaks have been reported in other parts of the world, including the United States and the United Kingdom. But how does it spread? Let's take a closer look. Mpox can spread in a few different ways. The primary way is through direct contact with an infected animal, particularly rodents like rats and squirrels. But it can also spread from person to person through close contact, like touching the skin lesions of an infected person, or through respiratory droplets during prolonged face-to-face interaction. And here's something important to note: Mpox can also spread through contaminated objects, like bedding, clothing, or towels that have been used by an infected person. So, it's essential to be mindful of your surroundings, especially if you're in an area where Mpox has been reported. Now, let's talk about the symptoms. Mpox usually starts with flu-like symptoms such as fever, headache, muscle aches, and fatigue. These symptoms are followed by a rash that often begins on the face before spreading to other parts of the body. Cut to a close-up of the rash, showing different stages of the lesions. The rash goes through different stages, starting as flat, red spots that turn into raised bumps, then fluid-filled blisters, and finally, scabs that eventually fall off. The entire illness typically lasts between 2 to 4 weeks. One thing to keep in mind is that not everyone will experience the same symptoms, and the severity can vary. If you notice any unusual symptoms, it's important to seek medical advice, especially if you've been in an area where Mpox is present. So, who's at risk for Mpox? While anyone can get infected, certain groups are at higher risk. This includes healthcare workers, people who live in or travel to areas where Mpox is common, and individuals with weakened immune systems. It's also important to note that Mpox can spread in households and communities, especially where people are in close contact. If you're in one of these high-risk groups, or if you think you might have been exposed, it's crucial to take precautions. Now that we know the risks, let's talk about how to protect ourselves. The good news is there are several steps you can take to reduce your risk of infection. First and foremost, practice good hygiene. Wash your hands regularly with soap and water, especially after contact with animals or potentially contaminated objects. Avoid close contact with people who are sick, and don't share bedding, clothing, or other personal items with anyone who has symptoms of Mpox. If you're in a high-risk area, consider wearing protective equipment like masks and gloves, especially if you're a healthcare worker. And if you're planning to travel to a region where Mpox is common, make sure to take extra precautions. Avoid contact with wild animals and be cautious about what you eat and drink. What happens if you do get infected? While there's no specific treatment for Mpox, most people recover with supportive care, which includes treating symptoms and preventing complications. In some cases, antiviral medications might be used, especially for severe cases. And here's some good news: there is a vaccine that can help prevent Mpox. The smallpox vaccine has been found to provide some protection against Mpox because the two viruses are closely related. If you're in a high-risk group, your healthcare provider might recommend vaccination. You might be wondering, how does Mpox compare to other diseases like smallpox or chickenpox? While they have some similarities, there are key differences. Smallpox was much more severe and was declared eradicated in 1980 thanks to global vaccination efforts. Mpox is milder but can still be serious, especially for people with weakened immune systems. Chickenpox, on the other hand, is caused by a different virus entirely and is usually less severe than Mpox. However, the rash in chickenpox tends to be more widespread and less uniform in appearance than the rash seen in Mpox. It's important to get a proper diagnosis if you're experiencing symptoms, as the treatment and precautions can vary depending on the disease. Let's talk about the latest outbreaks and what's being done to control the spread. In recent years, there have been several Mpox outbreaks in regions where the virus wasn't typically seen, including the United States and the UK. Governments and health organizations are working hard to contain these outbreaks, with measures like contact tracing, isolation of cases, and vaccination campaigns. Public awareness is also crucial, which is why it's so important to share accurate information. If you're in an area experiencing an outbreak, stay informed through reliable sources like the CDC or WHO, and follow any public health guidelines in place. Host. With any disease, there are always myths and misconceptions that can lead to unnecessary fear or risky behavior. Let's clear up a few of the most common ones about Mpox. First myth: Mpox only affects people in Africa. This is false. While it's more common in certain parts of Africa, outbreaks can and have occurred in other parts of the world. Another myth: Mpox is as dangerous as smallpox. While Mpox can be serious, especially for certain groups, it's generally milder than smallpox, which had a much higher fatality rate. Lastly, some people think that Mpox spreads easily through casual contact. In reality, it requires close, prolonged contact or contact with contaminated objects. So, while it's important to be cautious, there's no need to panic. If you think you might have Mpox, it's important to act quickly. Here's what you should do. First, isolate yourself to avoid spreading the virus to others. Next, contact a healthcare provider for advice on testing and treatment. If you're diagnosed with Mpox, follow your healthcare provider's instructions carefully, and make sure to inform anyone you've been in close contact with so they can take precautions too. Remember, early detection and proper care can make a big difference, so don't hesitate to seek help if you're concerned. Mpox is a serious disease, but with the right information and precautions, we can protect ourselves and our communities. Stay informed, practice good hygiene, and if you are in a high-risk area, take extra precautions. And most importantly, if you think you might have Mpox, seek medical advice as soon as possible. Remember, it's up to all of us to prevent the spread of infectious diseases. By staying educated and taking responsible actions, we can make a real difference. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to our channel for more health-related content. Together, we can stay safe and healthy.